So today I'm going to walk through how you can start to add in some quiz, testing, questioning yourself elements into your workflow. And this is something that I've been experimenting a lot with myself, because now that I'm learning and not actually preparing for an exam where someone else is going to test the knowledge that I've acquired, I've actually been using these tests or quizzes to help me build that baseline working or foundational knowledge so that I can continue expanding and exploring those new topics more deeply. And this mirrors my experience during my PhD, where I was having to learn a lot of new background level info to start to penetrate new fields. So let's get into how you can start using atoms to add those questions and test your understanding. So we're going to pick up in the Efficient Notes at University flow. So as a quick recap, this is a table with all of the lecture notes for the neuroscience course. And we've got an atoms property, which is displaying all of the atoms in this notes page, as well as a subpages property, which has all of the lecture materials, such as the lecture slides and other related reading. And then we also have a key concepts column. And these key concept atoms have been separated out from the list of all the atoms by adding an atom filter. So the key concepts tag has been added here, so it will only be displaying the atoms that have that key concepts tag. And in Protolyst, all of the tags that you'll be using correspond to pages in your workspace. So we also have that key concepts tag or page over here. And we dragged and dropped all of the atoms that have been labeled as key concepts from all of the lectures in the neuroscience course, dropped them into this page so that we had a summary cheat sheet collated point of all of those key concepts from the entire course. So having that consolidated collated list of all of the key information is of course useful, but if we want to test our understanding, it's probably better to give ourselves some questions. So to kick everything off, I'm going to add in a new page to act as a questions tag. So I'm going to title it questions and then leave it unset up. But this questions page is now in my sidebar, and because it's a page in my workspace, I will be able to use it as a tag for any of the atoms that I'm collecting that I want to use as questions. So I'm going to go back into my notes and work through and create questions to be able to test my knowledge on the information. So as I come across a piece of info, I'm going to highlight it and capture it as an atom. And I'm going to click into the atom box, and then I'm going to add a question or a series of questions related to testing my understanding of this piece of knowledge. And then when I finish writing my questions, I'm going to delete the rest of the atom text so that all I'm left with is my questions. And then I'm going to add the questions tag to this atom so that I will be able to see it in the questions page. Then I'm going to rinse and repeat to add a few more questions to test my understanding of the content of this lecture. So I've captured a few atoms, added in some questions to replace the atom text, and then tagged those atoms as questions. So let's jump back into the lectures table and set up another filtered atom property to display those questions. So we're going to add a property, change it to type atoms, and then in this property options box, we're going to add questions as the filter. If I scroll along a little bit and expand the size of this column, you will see the questions that we just added from the lecture material. If I open this up and then click on the source tag, so while we've updated the text in the atom to display something different, we'll still be taken back to that piece of information that we originally captured. So this relationship can be used for you to view the question and then jump back to test if you've got that question right. So I'm just going to close that, so open up in split screen, and I'm going to jump into some of the other lectures and create a few more questions so that we've got questions from all of the different lectures. And all of those questions are displaying in this column in the lectures table. And you can click on the source tag of any of the atoms in this column to be taken back to the nugget of information, which is going to be the answer to your question. And so you can set up your table to just display the questions column so that you could test yourself that way. But you could also go into the questions page, set it up as a text editor page, and similarly to how we created the key concepts summary, you can select all of the atoms and drag and drop them into this page so that you've prepared for yourself a mini exam to work through. So you could work through and answer all of those questions, and then go back through and follow the citations, which will link you back to the original source of those atoms and the exact information from your notes that was highlighted to check if you got those questions right. And if you're working with any of your friends that are on the same course as you and you are preparing for an exam, you can also share these questions by going to the page menu and selecting share. And then there's a few different options for you to choose there, and you can click share, then you can copy the link and you can pass it on to your friends, and in this way you could help test each other. So all of that to say that testing yourself is of course useful for testing your understanding when you're preparing for exams, but it's also incredibly useful to help you build that baseline foundational knowledge so that you can and continue to learn more. So hopefully this gives you some inspiration as to how you can make use of atoms to be quizzing yourself on the information that you're coming across to help you with building the knowledge that sits more permanently in your brain.